Hi, welcome to my first video. This is on my first article, and that is called "It's Complicated: the continuity and correlates of cycling and cohabiting and marital relationships." This is my literature review section. So, on and off again relationships are new, and they're also referred as cycling or churning relationships. And those differ from the traditional relationship categories of either terminated or together. Around 60% of young adults have experienced an on again, off again relationship throughout their life. However, what's distressing about this is that in on and off relationships, relational distress is a common risk. Relationship cycling is also associated with lower commitment, satisfaction, poorer communication, greater uncertainty, and higher levels of verbal abuse and violence, which is extremely distressing. Partners experiencing the most conflict are the people renewing relationships. So the reason why people get back together is more or less theorized to be that there's a greater investment in the relationship due to like an expanded period or something, and that there is a greater intimate self-disclosure, which is basically you telling another person like deep dark secrets and forming that emotional connection or bond with the other person. There is also post-dissolution contact, which is going in contact with your partner after the relationship has ended, and that may also push for more on and off relationships. Around 32 to 35% of young adults who divorce each other end up reconciling. This article uses the commitment model, which basically is talking about constraint versus dedication. So your dedication to the relationship and constraints are like external factors which would punish you for terminating the relationship, such as financial, social, or psychological costing factors. So an example of this would be people moving in together because of the constraints and not dedication. So you're moving in before you're dedicated to the relationship enough. So you're basically moving too fast. Relationship length, children, and economic factors all affect stability in cohabiting cyclic couples, because this article is going to be specifically talking about cohabiting couples. This is my methodology. They're picked from a random sample of married and cohabiting heterosexual couples in the United States. Out of the couples, 323 were just cohabiting, dating partners, and 752 were married couples. The ages ranged from 18 to 64. To determine if they were cycling, the couples were asked if they had renewed this specific relationship that they're in right now. And they were also asked if the decision to marry came while they were living together or during cohabitation. These questions were placed on a 5-point scale to measure uncertainty in the future. 3 questions about satisfaction were asked with answers on that same 5-point scale, and the length of relationship, marriage, children, and income were also asked, and they were like multiple choice questions, more or less. This is my results. Married partners were less likely to report cycling, whether in their relationship currently or in their relationship in their past. 25% of cohabiting couples reported a break and a renewal, which would be one cycle. 22% of cohabiting couples broke and renewed while living together. About half of the couples cohabited before marriage. 6% of those couples who cohabited before marriage broke and renewed while living together, which, yeah. Those who previously cycled were more likely to cycle again while living together. And husbands who experienced premarital cycling were more likely to say cohabitation was a thing that happened because they weren't married they weren't ready for marriage. But this is different from wives. This is specifically in husbands. 67% of cyclical husbands said the couple didn't want to marry prior to cohabiting versus 55% of wives, which is just the statistics for the thing I said before. And cohabiting and married couples with a history of cycling reported greater uncertainty and lower satisfaction than their non-cyclical counterparts. Cyclical partners reported being together on average 3 years longer than their non-cyclical counterparts. So that's another thing that's saying like constraints plays a role over dedication in relationship, which kind of proves their theory in a way. Okay, and then cyclical currently cohabiting partners were more likely to report children under the age of 18 in the house than non-cyclical partners, which also goes to prove their theory that it's an issue of constraints before dedication was formed. And spouses who had been cyclical prior to marriage are more likely to have lower income, which also goes into that. So to conclude, cycling is common in cohabiting and marital relationships, and it is a result of constraints being placed prior to dedication. And yeah, that's my article. That's article 1. Done. Thank you.